did you not make $1 billion today, Sebastian? That's all, I just want to know, Sebastian. If you knew where the market was going to go, why did you not make $1 billion today?
All right, guys, we are in our trade for micros. Taking a while too to get going, but I think at 119 here, we're going to see ourselves a nice sharp decline. So first, we're going to go lock in profit right here at this blue line. That's going to be the first point of interest on the 15-minute time frame. Then we're looking to retake this full 15-minute candle here, risking about 150 bucks on this trade. We're at 750 for the day, so it's not a bad trade. Want a $1,500 day. Would love to double another 750 and get $1,500 today. That'd be dope. Down here is 800 bucks where these two contracts are. So we bought 2 and then we added 2 more. All right, 10 seconds left in this this minute here. Moment of truth. It's going to sell off here in a moment. All right, that should start the sell off or the buy. Which one are we going to do? 120 is the time. It should start to sell off. We should get down here because the target is 555. We're in a downtrending day so far. The target's 555. We haven't hit the target, but right now we're just holding this level. They're kind of consolidating. It's right after lunch, and they're in a consolidation. What we don't want to see is just a random wick up. That would annoy me. We break 50 cents, and I'll just cut out of the trade itself. But we should be going to 560 flat here in a moment. It's taking a long time. What we need is for Apple to come back down. Apple's kind of dragging the market up right now. Once Apple starts to come back down, then we'll get back in line with my trade. Apple's at 50 cents. We need Apple at 0 cents. And we need Microsoft to come down to about 20 cents. Apple's literally the only thing pulling us up right now. Everything else is coming down. Nvidia's coming down. Slowly trending towards Apple, but Nvidia's coming down. There we are, positive money right there. There we are, positive 16. We're not going to take positive 16. We're just going to hold for the full push down to the 23 EMA right here. Then I'll lock in profits. Positive $20. We want to see positive 200. We're going to lock in at the blue line. There we go. There's positive 124. Now we're moving my direction. 126, 140, 150. We'll lock in 120. And now what we're looking for is right here, this white line to get positive $200 that we're looking for. All right, we're at positive 150 right now, and I'll keep it rolling. All right, so now we're gonna lock in right here. Let our runner go. So we got up $100 right there. We're gonna let our runner go for the rest of the time now. We're looking to get down here. If the runner gets all the way down here, it's gonna get $800 no matter what. So you see we're above 100. That's $200 in the trade. That's a $950 day right there. We're looking for at least this full body of this candle right here in this next portion of this half hour. What's gonna happen is it's gonna struggle right here for a little bit, going up and down. But we're looking for the full candle to get us about $200 out of that, almost $300. We just took $100 out of it, and now we're looking for the other 2. So that's 133 with 2 contracts, 136. Once we get to 559.40, they'll really make a decision on what they're going to do next. But let's lock in $100 for this real quick right here, just to ensure that we get our $100 no matter what. Now we're going to go to this point right here. Always want to lock in your nice even amounts. Make sure that you're getting the most out of these trades. So we open up 2 over here. Then we open up another 2 right here when they pull it back to the blue line again to give us extra money. And that's just extra income on top of the initial fact that we were already green to begin with. When you lock in the 2 more, yeah, it did go red because it pulled it back a little bit. But as you can see, patience pays. And here we are at $164 going for $200 on 2 micro contracts, which would have been $400 on the 4. So we got the 150 right here. That's the next point that we'll look to lock in is $150. No, don't pull it back to 100. That's cheaping. It's cheap. Give us the 150 then. If you're not gonna give us the full $200, give us the 150. Don't be cheap on me now, Dotson. So we're gonna hold for the 150. What we want is the full body of the candle here, giving us $200. 150 is where I'm at. Like I said, I would have loved to have both of the 4 contracts open, but unfortunately we closed 2. But that's good. That's why I have a runner in this situation. We're gonna lock in 150 now, going for the $200 mark. Lock in the white line. Try to get the 150 again. And you guys see, it's just a thing of patience. It's just a thing of patience. You have to understand where the flow is. It's not always going to go where you want it to go when you want it to go there. But as long as you know that inevitably they have a target and you can figure out what that target is, then you can ride the trend down to your target. So let's say I want to go and snag my 150 right here, right? I want to snag 150, and we're gonna call this trade a day. I don't feel like watching it any longer. It's been 30 minutes or whatever. Not really. It's been like 5, 10, 15. been about 20 minutes. I don't feel like watching any longer. Even if it does go all the way down to my price target, I can always find another trade, a better trade, or take like a mini. Now that I've made $938, I can always take a mini contract trade. But you can see where we bought in at. Two right here, 1911. 1911's right there at the top of the body of that candle. And then we had two right here at 896. 896 is right here. So when we pulled back to the 200 EMA, I bought in two more, and I was like, yo, now we can have a bigger trade. And that's how we made $300 on that trade right there, instead of just making 150, maybe 125, 200 probably. Especially because we started at a much lower point. So when you're pulling back to a very strong level of support or resistance, you can always hop in with another couple of contracts to take the ride even longer and make even more. Because what happens is you'll start out slightly more negative, and then as the trade goes along and progresses into your initial point where you bought in, you'll double your money as time's going faster. You saw that we doubled our money, and we took the initial trade, the 896 out. We took that $75 out, and then we let this one run to $150. But thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I don't want this to be too long. I'll check you guys out in the next one. I'll find another trade later if there's one to be had. But there is clearly a target that they're trying to get to right here. They're trying to reach this gap. Just fill this gap to 566.44. They made it to 566.93. So another 50 cents is nothing for them to fill this gap right here. And then they would head down to this 555.36. But the overall trend of the day is down as we they're rebuilding confidence in the market, but the overall trend of the day is down. As you can see, we're back in greed. We're at 58. So what they do is they lure you into this feeling of being bullish, and then they snatch the rug. And that's what you're witnessing today. Like, everybody's bullish. All these bullish contracts have been bought in, and that's what's holding the market up. Every time we hit a level, go bullish, bounce back up, and then they start to push it back down. So the really wealthy people, I believe, want the market to come back down a little bit, and then they can buy in again. But the bullish retail traders and the bullish smaller hedge funds are they're trying to push it up back to the 570 mark so that they can get to a really greedy bullish market. Overall, on the month, market's bullish, but on this particular week so far, we are bearish. Enjoy the trades, guys. I hope you guys enjoy both me when I take minis and when I take micros. Both can make you a lot of money. 200 ticks on a micro contract is a very low risk proposition. As you can see, I'm only risking $50. So I'm risking $100 for 4 contracts instead of risking $150 for a single contract and then having to have a much tighter stop loss type of situation, or risking $200 for the exact same 50 ticks or whatever with one contract. And if I do 2, then you're talking about 500. But I'll check you guys out later on. I'm sorry, $250 and $500 for the minis. But like I said, I'll check you guys out later on. And happy hunting out here. Right now is probably not the best time to trade. The best time to trade was honestly at noon. At noon, the market skyrocketed for a little bit and then kind of chilled out as time went on. Let's show you guys noon. This right here was noon. Look at that. Noon shot up from 560 to 562, 563 really fast. Came right back on down. So 12 and 12:15 were actually 2 really good times to trade. And a lot of time people are like, oh, don't bother with the lunchtime hour because there's not much going on because it's lunch, right? But they actually sneak a lot of really good moves in there. But like I said, I want to cut this video off right here. I don't want it to be any longer. And as you can see, where I got out was pretty much all that they were going to give me before they started to pull back up. So that always gives me confidence that my analysis is tight and that it's good. Like I said, the overall goal of the day is to get down here, but they don't have to do it today. They can do it tomorrow. They can do it the next day. There's just a target amount that we're trying to hit and trying to keep us between like 555 and 575 as a very large range. But they like to have a $10 range on a daily basis. So 565 is where we close. 563 is where we close. They want to get down to the 565 to 555 to have a $10 range. And then it can kind of waver up and down between that $10 range as people kind of lobby for which direction is going to go in. But clearly they want to push the market back up towards $600 as soon as possible. So we need to get to 575. Once we get to $575, they'll start making very large strides to pushing us to 580, 590, and then 600, of course. And then that gets us right back to the high of the year, which was $612 or $613. But as of 12 minutes ago, we're the greed index is pointing towards greed. Now, when we get really greedy and we get really green, that's when I'll start like really feeling bullish. But until then, it's just 2 days of greed, so I'm not really taking this all too serious. But you guys have a great day. Again, I'm signing off for like the 40th time. This has been another Full Transparency Trading Session where I'm your host, Sebastian, and I'm out.